Um, Sometimes when you're getting ready to pod, you just turn the mic and the camera on. It's been a minute, man. It's been since I think either September, October, um, since I potted. Uh, Sorry to get a little something from the Stanley. Get some water. Um, of course, it's Big Dev. It's Big Dev. One third or one fourth. You shout out to the homie Ulysses of the DMST podcast, not DMST podcast network. It has been months since we've dropped anything. I kind of took the bull by the horns when we stopped doing the pod as a unit. Um, and started the network that we're gonna incorporate some other people in here pretty soon. But then life happened, man. Life happens. Life tends to happen sometimes, and it's not anticipated. So, so much stuff has happened since we potted, but it's so hard to. It's so disingenuous if you want to get on there and last thing I talked about I think was Diddy and all that stuff that was going on. And it's kind of disingenuous to talk about that and follow up on that and talk about other stuff when life is happening. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. I guess life got to be talked about first. Then you can move on and talk about the fun stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what this is. Kind of a purge of life situations over the past 6 months. Background probably looks a little different. You know what I'm saying? But it's just got the little sponge on there, but my hair's growing out a little bit, about to get it twisted back up. So it's been a minute, like I said, since I've been on here. But that ain't the only thing that's changed. For me, I was a person that it was odd because I grew up mostly with my father. Mother and father ended up getting back together, but mostly my father and then my two brothers on the east side of Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? Which is a tough place to grow up in the 80s and the 90s. But weirdly enough, my father instilled a lot of good, genuine values in us. You know what I'm saying? And one of them was to always date with intention. So I always dated with the intention of being married, always. So, by the time I was 30, I was married. But as I stand here today, almost 43, I am on the other side of that, processing through a split up, a breakup. Divorce takes a while to process, so eventually that'll be processed. But processing my way through that in my own apartment here in the suburbs of Cleveland, getting used to that life and lifestyle, which is different. You know what I'm saying? You're around the fam all day for the majority of your life, and then boom. At least the way the setup is for me, you at least for a week at a time. You know what I'm saying? It's just me at the crib. You know what I'm saying? So it's a cool transition. I'll get into it, but a lot different than I thought it would be. But a transition nonetheless. The hardest part was telling the little one, you know what I'm saying? Because she had never experienced anything other than both parents in the crib, so that's always a difficult situation. But full disclosure, we don't live that far from each other, so maybe 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So she's still the center of the world. So to let her know that this is not her issue, it's not her problem, it's not her fault. That whole nine. Everybody's processing the situation pretty well, but that was the hardest part. Because for the adults, when you get to that point where you are ready to go in a separate direction, you usually already know. You know, the partner knows. And so that's kind of where we were. You know, we knew what had to happen. And everything else from there has kind of been a formality. So, but we've done a good job letting the baby girl know that she is the center of the world, and none of this is her fault, and everything's going to continue to revolve around her. My 18-year-old is getting ready to head off to college, so you know, she got a different mindset and mind frame right now. So, yeah, this is the new reality, the new normal. You know, navigating your way through this through a single world, which is crazy, man. The thing about it though is I still have zero. I don't have, how do I word this? I still date with. I'm still going to date with intention. I don't know any other way. So for me, it's mostly just chilling until I'm ready. Until I'm ready, and then once I'm ready, jump back out there and do it with intention. You know, eventually I'm gonna get there. You know, right now I'm chilling. Right now I'm getting used to the day to day, and you know what? It's intoxicating. I think it's because, especially as a male. I don't want to get into this. Let me not do that. As just a person in a relationship, geez, let me not start already. You get used to the daily sacrifice. You know, I'm kind of putting everybody before you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not putting everybody before you. Many days you obviously put yourself first, but you know, you thinking about what other people got going on and what time. You know, the kid gets out and what she got, what the wife got going on, and you know, incorporating that with dinner and plans and schedules, and when all that's off the table, and it's just like tonight I'm making chicken noodle soup. That's it. Like that's it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's intoxicating. That ability to kind of focus on self, to be able to transition from that back to focusing on the entire group. It's going to be a transition at some point, but it's something I look forward to. So crazy doing this time of transition, man. I know I talked about it before. I think I did. I'm sure I did on the pod on DMST. I got my car stole back in February 2024, and so I ended up trading it in and ended up getting a BMW. Man, so back in December, I made this. I moved into my apartment here in November 1st. December 2nd, December 3rd, I'm out driving, make a wrong turn, need to go, like, just don't know this area that yet. So I'm like, all right, let me turn around real quick, hop back on the freeway. Man, I pull into a lot. Real quick turnaround. So when I look over the crazy thing about out here where I live now, I don't want to give too much away, but it's a lot of hills, So when you look in your rear view, it looks like there's no car behind you, because if a car's at the bottom of a hill, you can't see it, especially during the day. There's no lights, nothing. So I look at my rear view, look like there's no car behind me from my house. So I pull into this lot real quick. So it's one of those, you know, you pull in, whip, turn around and turn back out to go back in the direction you was coming from. And I looked in the opposite direction. I didn't look in the direction behind me. So as I pull out, boom, I get T-bone on the left-hand side. Luckily, I was able to speed up a half a mile per hour because he missed the front door, but completely caved in the back door. Airbags deployed, but no injuries, man, from me or him. You know, a little stiffness in the neck or whatever, stuff like that, but no major injuries at all. So end up towing that car out, man. But was able to get a new one because we end up selling our crib and stuff like that, and got a few bucks back from the total amount of the car because it got totaled out. So end up making out okay on that end, but I didn't need that goddamn car. No way, man. That's one thing I learned too. Shout out to BMW and Mercedes drivers and all them kind of people, man. Like, it ain't me. That's not me. I used to find myself at like CVS and a goddamn BMW. Like, why am I here? Why do I have this fucking car here? Is, you know, and I'm being from the hood. You always feel like you got a target on your back, and then just put a bigger target on your back. It just wasn't. It wasn't me. It'll never be me. So never again will I own something like that. Got a decent little car this time to get from point A to point B. Paid cash for it. So I ain't got no note, shit like that. So that whole whipping something to look good for the people, man, I ain't got time for that shit no more, man. At all. So, I mean, car ain't bad that I have now, but I'm not trying to get something just, you know, for the flash or whatever. I can't, it ain't me. It ain't me. So just a lot of transition, man. But you it's crazy in the midst of all that. You know, I'm like you going through life transition and then boom, car accident happened, and you got a rental car. You got to pay for the rent. It was just a lot going on at once, man. It was this transition has been a lot. Shit. Full disclosure, man. I was working in the school. I would always. So this is another thing I'm talking about. Like, you know, I would make decisions professionally based on family. So I would try to, you know, work in schools and stuff like that, so that my schedule could match up with the kids, so I could be off when they off, stuff like that. So I was working at a school, wasn't making as much money as I should have. But the schedule matched up. So, you know, it's two incomes, so it's cool. But the moment we made the decision, I'm like, all right, I gotta do something different. So ended up getting a different job somewhere else. And it was supposed to be a smooth transition. It was supposed to be November 15th, I stopped this job. November 18th, I started a new job. So stop on Friday, start on Monday. Put my 2 weeks in, like literally the day I moved in, I put my 2 weeks in at work too. And then like a week later, my new job was like, we actually can't start you to December 9th. And I'm like, what the fuck? Or December 2nd. December 2nd. And I'm like, oh, God. All right. And so, and so at that point, obviously now I'm going through this process with 2 weeks of no work. You know what I'm saying? I'm not working in this. In my old job, you got paid. Whatever. It was so it went through a little law, but then in the midst of that, I ended up getting another job of the same style that started December 9th. So I really went December 9th. So I went from November 15th to December 9th without pretty much working traditionally. I had to make ends meet doing what I had to do. You know what I'm saying? I was all right, but had a few dollars saved, and then did a couple things here and there, but you know, I didn't get paid for that job until like the 20th of December. So you go like a month and some change. It was just that was something. It was a life lesson. It was people like, oh, it seemed like a dark time. If and this is the thing about it, man. Maybe it's because of the stuff I went through when I was younger. I'm like, if that was darkness, then I'm gonna be all right. Because yeah, was it difficult? Was it a rough stretch? Yeah, it was a rough stretch. Shout out to the people in my life who really, really, really looked out for me, man. I had some people that really looked out for me during that time period that I'll be forever indebted to. Forget what the actual debt that, you know, can be paid back and has been. I'm not talking about that, because that's all been settled. It's not about what's been paid back. It's about what was needed in the moment. Sometimes, obviously, you're going to be able to pay somebody back shit with interest. But what the help means in the moment, when you really need it, when you really need some shit and you get some help, man, it's not like it. And in those dark moments, you do figure out who really fucks with you. You really, really figure that out. And that's one thing that I took from that is clarity on who really fucks with you as a person. who really fucked with you as a person. So, um, yeah. Um, but uh, yeah, man. I don't even really know where else to go from there with this. I just wanted to obviously address it because it's been no action from us for a long time. It's been no information from DMST for a long time, but we ain't going nowhere. We go. I was just talking to Brainstorm a couple days ago, um, where we want to do some stuff. We want to do some podding. I'm gonna do the Pound podcast. Pause the Pound podcast here this week too. Go over some Brown stuff, especially with the combine and the draft coming up. Probably do one of those a week, putting those out. I'm saying no pod is gonna be coming with way more stuff. I just had to drop this. So DMST we used to do these stuff like this at the end of each year, some like a reflection, and that's where I kind of got the idea to like just sit down, 15, 20, 30 minutes maybe max, and and get the business out the way, because it's kind of hard to get to the frivolous, funny, fun, whatever stuff when you got real stuff hanging over your head, man. So I'm cool. I'm straight. I was telling my man, shout out to my one homie, man. I'm not gonna hold back. Shout out to my homie Ed, man, because you got to give people flowers when they do stuff like this. Like, you know, it's this misconception that guys don't like to talk about certain stuff, and guys don't challenge guys, and guys don't check in on how we doing with our feelings and emotions. But I always, I'm grateful and thankful for people like my brother Ed, man, who will who just dropped like it, man. How you feeling? How you holding up, bro? It's been a couple months, man. Just checking in with you. And he hit me with one of those the other day, and I just kind of word vomited after he hit me with that text, man. But like I was telling him, the transition has been a lot different than I thought it would be. Thought it would be a lot darker. But I think, like I said earlier, I think because we both kind of knew, it made this process a bit easier. It just became, all right, how do we execute this the best way possible? A lot of the angst and hurt and pain had unfortunately been experienced within the relationship already. You know what I mean? So there was no, like, once the words were said that, we gonna move on, it was like, all right, how do we move on effectively? Because we had kind of experienced the downs already. It was time to open up the blinds. You know what I'm saying? And let the sun shine in. And that's kind of how it's been. Everything that's been difficult has been the adjustment to the new normal. That's really it. And you're getting used to the new normal. We're doing this in the heart of the winter. It's been one of the worst winters in Cleveland history, if you ask me, in terms of just the sheer amount of days where you visibly see snow. So it has been a depressing setting. No leaves, snow, ice, cold, wind. It's just that setting has not led to like a lot of new birth and growth and shit like that. So I think as springtime comes, comfortability with surroundings, comfortability with routine, the newness becomes less new and becomes more mundane and more of the daily trek. I feel like it'll get better and better and better and better and better, even more than it already is. But yeah. As far as transitions go, can't complain too much. Um, like, still got to cross some T's and dot some I's to make everything official. But we're moving towards that. So that's kind of the inevitable. We just, both parties understand. Like, it's so funny that the outside world kind of wants you. I don't say wants you. Would think you need to define everything immediately, and if you get a divorce, go process a divorce now. Go get divorced tomorrow. Go downtown, do the paperwork. But when that's going to happen, once two people decide once you start splitting up bank accounts and taking names off stuff, and it the actual paperwork becomes another formal piece of paperwork that you got to do. You both kind of understand the need to establish your new normal first. That is the thing that makes the most. Yeah, you're doing two things simultaneously. You're not putting it off. You're not putting anything off, but you're also creating a new normal while trying to wrap up loose ends. So life continues to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, she could, is still doing a good job at her job and winning trips and taking trips for her job, and things are still happening in the moment that's new that you have to do and experience. And you still have to wrap up old stuff, but you also have to build a new normal. And building that new normal is just as important. And it makes the formality stuff, a little bit more sensible and easier to deal with. But building that new normal and that routine and respecting each other's space, respecting each other's time, respecting each other's emotions, respecting each other's space, building your own space, your own time, your own routine, your own day to day. It's a lifestyle shift. You know what I'm saying? So continue to work on that and make sure that's as good as it can possibly be. Yeah, and this right here is part of how can I put it? This is a part of things getting back to normal. When you can shut your brain down for about an hour and a half, organize your thoughts, formulate them, put them on record, and edit them, you've reached a level of zen in your life. And getting back to this pod game is almost therapeutic. It's almost therapeutic to get back to this point, and then to continue, because that means that a lot of the jumbleness, a lot of the confusion has died down, and life can kind of start to go back to normal a little bit. Knock on wood, thank God. So keep praying for one another. Keep say a special prayer for me, please. I'll say one for you if you need one. Do what needs to be done when it needs to be done, whether you like it or not, man. Do what needs to be done when it needs to be done, whether you like it or not. Truer words have never been spoken. I am Big Dev. This is I'm Saying, though. And I'll see y'all with some more fun stuff here pretty soon, because the world is crazy. The world is crazy. And I got to give my opinion on it. You understand what I'm saying? I'll see y'all in a few days. Peace.